Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here to talk about all things wrestling. Love this podcast. Can't wait to get started. So, don't forget to, tell me how you feel. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend. It is Tuesday. We all had a, very eventful Monday. Just a little, couple of health updates. My ankle is doing a lot better. I don't know if any of you guys would give a crap, but definitely having that to look forward to today, Tuesday. Hope you guys had a great Tuesday, terrific Tuesday. I remember back when you went to like elementary school, how kids and my kids as well, um you know once when they come home from school, they always say, oh, teacher said he had a terrific Tuesday day. And it's cute, it's awesome. But why are you lying to the children? I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, Tuesday's great. To be honest, for the longest time, I feel like my favorite day of the week was, surprisingly, I used to like Thursdays. I don't know why. Thursdays was kind of like my thing. Especially growing up, that's when SmackDown, it was first on UPN on Thursdays. So I would, watch that with my family and stuff like that. And it was super dope, super cool. So maybe it has that a little bit of nostalgia, that connection, empathy toward it, just to get that good feeling in the brain. So yeah, honestly, guys, sometimes when you get stressed out, sometimes when a Tuesday, Monday, or even a Wednesday kicks your ass, just close your eyes. Know you're going to get through the week. You're going to be amazing. Think happy thoughts. Think of your happy place, and it'll help. Definitely. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today on tap. Today we have our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We're going to talk about NXT Great American Bash Week 2 preview. We're also going to talk about this new Judgment Day, with the leader being Finn Balor, claiming that there's no egos. No egos. Damien Priest and Rhea Ripley have been officially kicked out of the Judgment Day. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about, the possibilities for, Judgment Day, also maybe Damien Priest, also Rhea Ripley's next step. So yeah, we're going to get into that. Our fourth segment, we had a return, one of the best returns in WWE history. We had Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, return at SummerSlam. It was a shock. Although a lot of us did probably see it coming, but it was great, to be honest. We're going to get into how Roman Reigns coming back is, probably one of the best babyface creations, like a heel turn to a babyface, and just the fact that he really didn't honestly have to do anything. It was just great storytelling. It was great booking by WWE Creative under the Paul Levesque era. And, I don't know. I think it's, pretty astonishing. So then we're going to jump into our fifth segment. We're going to talk about Tuesdays today in wrestling history. Not really crazy stuff happened in wrestling today. So I think I have about 3 events that we're going to, but there were 3 pretty big events. So make sure you stay tuned for the end of the show. But before we move on any further, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. So remember to leave a positive comment. Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow the show, follow the network, so you can watch more sports podcasts. No, it's not just about wrestling. This podcast is just about wrestling. But we also have a football podcast, baseball, basketball, you name it. We have an entertainment podcast, meeting up with the sports world, with the Andrew Tate podcast. So make sure you tune into all the cool podcasts we have here at the GSMC Sports Network. So yeah, don't be ashamed to, don't be afraid, don't be shy. Send in a chat. There's no right or wrong answers. Want to hear you guys' opinions. Obviously, at the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Give what you can, but most importantly, just want to, hear you guys' opinions. This is more or less my podcast, but I want this to be like our podcast, where we talk about wrestling. The best thing about talking about professional wrestling is to someone to have to, to kind of bounce ideas off of. So yeah, definitely 1,010%. Okay, so we're going to talk about segment 1. It was a very, very fallout, eventful episode of Monday Night Raw. So let's get into it. First, Gunther, the new World Heavyweight Champion, saying that he is greatness. He really honestly didn't have to speak too long until Randy Orton came out and confronted him. Kind of, kind of said something that was on the mind of absolutely everybody when it comes to the King of the Ring finals, where Randy Orton's left shoulder was completely and utterly off the map. It was a botch by WWE officials, but really never really brought up. But now they're kind of bringing it up right now. Randy Orton is like, I should have been in your position, 1,010%. I should have definitely fought Damien Priest for the World Heavyweight Champion, or well, I think he would have to fight Cody Rhodes, but anyways, like I thought overall it was a good promo. It was a good promo to get kind of Gunther's name out there. Not that it already was not, but and then you had Ludwig Kaiser come out. He's been actually on he was on a pretty good kick before he got injured, but now he's hoping to build up his momentum once again. Obviously, you had Sheamus come out, and then they had their match. Pete Dunne, once again, you saw the bro kick, and Sheamus was able to, I believe, pick up the victory. But overall, I feel like Ludwig Kaiser has he has a pretty bright future ahead of him. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to be, probably a United States champion one day, maybe a WWE Intercontinental. Will he make it to the heavy main card? Yeah, honestly, he can. He does have the in-ring capabilities, and he's a wrestler. Cutthroat. The brawling brutes. I'm just kidding. But you know, Gunther, I was surprised that he won the championship. I gotta be honest. I was 1,010% surprised. I was kind of thinking that they were gonna kind of hold it as like a chip between Finn Balor and also Damian Priest when the fallout of the Judgment Day would happen, which it did, and the crap really hit the fan at WWE SummerSlam. A lot of stuff happened that I thought was not going to happen, like the whole Dirty Dom situation with Rhea Ripley. I knew something had to give. I knew it was so far. I was like, dude, Rhea Ripley, she's so damn talented. She's so down, she's so dominant. There's no way Liv Morgan's going to beat her without a little bit of help. So then I kind of thought, I was like, okay, it's been speculated that Ruby Riott might come back to help out her former, Riott Squad member. There was also talks about Liv Morgan's real life best friend, her name, Lana. She used to be married to Rusev, but then she went to AEW, then she quit. She's still in the open market as a free agent. I thought she was going to be a reason why Rhea Ripley would lose, but no. WWE is like, all right, we're going to start this. We're going to rip it off like a band-aid. So I don't know. It's pretty crazy. It's been a pretty eventful 3 days in terms of like WWE and stuff like that. So yeah, honestly, 1,010%, it was awesome. Next we Damian Priest came out, absolutely heated, calling out Finn Balor, and Finn Balor once again kind of shoved it in Damian Priest's face that I control the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day is it's now mine, and I'm excited to find out the new direction. We're gonna get into that. Once another segment we're gonna talk about. So Damian Priest also said, my new family, obviously going toward the baby face, calling the WWE Universe his family, which is probably the right way to kind of go about it. But I like the Damian Priest push as a babyface. I kind of like it. Next, we have Lyra Valkyria taking on Shayna Baszler. Damage Control intervenes because they were beating the holy hell out of Lyra Valkyria. And I know Damage Control looks like they're revamped. Io Sky, Kairi Sang, and Dakota Kai looking like they're, it's time they need a new direction. Once when Bayley got kicked out of the group, then you had kind of the falling out of Damage Control. Sorry. And I think it's time to let these girls shine. Obviously, Bayley kind of brought them into a new light. Io Sky was already very, very impressive. Kairi Sang, she's a great superstar as well. Also, Dakota Kai, this is kind of like her second round with WWE. She was released before. Now, it's kind of her opportunity to, make a name for herself. And, you kind of look on, social media, Instagram, TikTok, and, she does Twitch where she plays video games, and she's very, very liked. Very, very liked. She does like a podcasting, I believe, with Selena Vega. And, I wouldn't be too surprised if they kind of give Dakota Kai a new direction. the women's division heating up. The women's division is going absolutely it's going absolutely nuts. Obviously, you had Sonya Deville, taking on Io Sky later on in the night, where Io Sky was able to pick up the victory. Very, very, well fought match. Definitely think 1,010%. I can't wait, and I feel like you know, with the women's division just on fire and on fuego, once when they bring in the titles, once when they bring in the new titles for the women's division, the Intercontinental, also the United States, that's going to be pretty big. 1,010%. So there's no doubt in my mind that somebody like Lyra Valkyria, somebody like Damage Control, somebody like Dakota Kai could definitely hold that title, can make it prestigious. I believe 1,010%. Next, we have CM Punk come out. Obviously, they're still airing my lungs, saying that if anything, although he did lose at SummerSlam, if anything, it kind of pumps him up to, he's going to be greater. It means that he's fully returned to WWE 1,010%. And then you saw Seth Rollins come out. Drew McIntyre also intervened, and this was a weird promo, in my opinion. Like, I really honestly did not know what the direction they were going for. I know they're heading for a triple threat match, probably at Bash at Berlin. Well, actually, I'm not too sure after what happened with Seth Rollins being attacked and brutalized by Bronson Reed. And he was, spitting up blood, and it was, kind of crazy. Then we saw the A-Town Down Under fight the Awesome Truth. And I don't know when they're gonna break up this A-Town Down Under, but to be honest, I think I'm done with it. I think the WWE universe, kind of sees past this BS. I believe 1,010% that Austin Theory, it would be way better as a single superstar. Randy Orton says, he said in an interview that he has high hope for him. Also, John Cena said as well. He's kind of was, the Vince McMahon's last guy. And then, and then next you have the new Judgment Day intervene. Well, no, they didn't intervene. They introduced themselves. The Wyatt Sicks made their debut inside of the ring. I liked the match. I liked how, Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, and how big Eric Rowan is, they didn't really seem too dominant they didn't seem like superhuman, unbeatable people, which I was kind of afraid they were going to do. Kind of like the way they did it with The Fiend. And then, you had him lose against Goldberg and, at first time, it was stupid. Like, why build up someone that much to the point where, they seem unbeatable? But, it was a well fought match. I liked it. The Creed brothers were pretty impressive. Chad Gable was, still kind of being a jerk. So, honestly, the way they turned Chad Gable, heel, I hated it at first, to be honest. But, right now, I kind of see, why they did it. All right, got a couple of chats by my man Anthony Mazzano, hashtag mob. What do you think, Wesley? Explanation next week for why he turned on the Rascalz. Oh, I had no idea he turned on the Rascalz. I have WWE NXT right now, recording. Have not checked a single shred of social media, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. So, that's crazy. That's a huge spoiler. That's a breaking news right there. That's insane. Who do you think Ripley and Priest are going to get to replace JD and Finn and Dom with? I don't see them making another group. I see them starting to kind of part ways a little bit. I can see them obviously you have Finn Balor and you're gonna have this Damien Priest feud go on for quite some time. I do not know how long they're gonna do it, but I like to create a whole new group. That I honestly I think that would be kind of I don't know. I wouldn't like it, but that's in my opinion. Do you know what I think is going to happen with Damage Control? Probably never replace Dakota with Julia. I kind of had thoughts that I kind of had big thoughts once when Julia and also once when Asuka comes back, to the point where maybe they kind of crash out Dakota Kai. But right now, I just feel like she's kind of assumed the role of the leader. She assumed the role of the leader in terms of Damage Control. And right now, I feel like, Io Sky, Kairi Sane isn't really prominent within the wrestling roster. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that, but, she needs a purpose. The women's tag team belts. You recently saw Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill lose. The unholy union's gonna be, they're gonna have to, they're gonna have to, um, you know, get, people to, competitors. Sorry, other competitors. So I believe maybe something happens to the point where, I don't know, it would be pretty interesting. And I also got another chat. With, that's what confused me is he's such a high potential. Why has he stalled out since the rivalry with Selena within John Cena? John Cena, I believe, I think after what Triple H Paul Levesque says that as soon as January hits, probably that's when John Cena is going to start having his whole retirement thing come in fruition. But I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of taking wrestling one day at a time because there's so many twists and turns. And I got to be honest, as a wrestling fan, I'm super, super excited because feel like they're doing the best thing for the fans. It's shocking. It's unpredictable. It's unpredictable again. Was with Austin Theory. Oh, okay. Yeah, with Austin Theory, I think he was very talented. Vince McMahon, he pushed for Austin Theory. Austin Theory never really, I don't think he was really accepted that much to the WWE universe. I think he was trying to get Austin Theory to not kind of be in the same position as not Cody Rhodes, not definitely not that, strenuous. But Austin Theory, he's young. He's still very much young. He's still, it's kind of like an example of when WWE, the Attitude Era, instead of signing older guys like Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger, bringing them back or whatever, they were like, you know what, we're going to develop these young guys. We're going to develop Triple H. We're going to develop the Rock. We're going to, put our time and effort into these guys, into these new guys. And that's kind of, I feel like Austin Theory was 2 years too early, if that makes any sense. I feel like right now, if he came out and he was, the Money in the Bank winner, I think he'd be totally different. I think 1,010% his career would probably jump more toward a positive, standpoint. But, I hope he does. I hope he honestly does get that exposure. I think he deserves it. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about NXT Great American Bash preview. We got a spoiler that Wesley turns on the rap. Wow, that's huge. That's a bombshell. So hey, guys, honestly, stay here. We're going to talk about it. Do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, no, this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about all things about professional wrestling. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about, what to look forward to watching WWE NXT Great American Bash Week 2. Can't wait to watch it. Like I said, I've not checked a single shred of social media. It's recorded right now. Can't wait to watch it. It's going to be sick. To be honest, the best thing about, recording it is, you can kind of fast forward through all the commercials. You can turn something that takes, like 2 hours to watch into, probably like, still around like an hour. But, it's still kind of cool to kind of, flip around a little bit, to be honest. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Obviously, leave whatever. Anything is greatly appreciated. First and foremost, I, just want to hear what you guys have to say in the chat. That's, kind of the big deal. And, in my opinion, 1,010%. So, don't be afraid to hit up that tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. We get a number of questions from viewers like you that come in during the show to ensure that your question gets read on air in front of millions of people. Use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. It's good, wrestling is our stuff. Wrestling is our thing. That's definitely, if you're looking to jump into the world of professional wrestling, not as a wrestler, although that'd be pretty badass. I see stuff that pops up on Instagram, TikTok all the time that says, become a wrestler, New Japan Professional Wrestling. I think they do have an academy in Los Angeles. Don't quote me on that. I should have fact checked that, but I think they do. So if you ever, feel pretty gutsy, if you ever want to make an appearance at WWE WrestleMania, if you want to challenge Roman Reigns for the tribal chief, you can start training today. I'm just kidding. That would be wild. These guys are in incredible great shape. These guys have been doing it for decades. So, it'd be hard, but determination, and it helps. It works. All right, so let's get on to our second segment, our WWE NXT Great American Bash preview. So last week, Gallus interrupted Joe Hendry's concert. And, obviously the TNA star was very, very frustrated, saying that this was his, kind of like first impression, I guess you can say, because, he wants to be more on WWE NXT. He wants to be featured in more promos. He was, the moment I laid eyes on Joe Hendry, I got to be honest, I thought he was a WWE superstar. He just played the part. He just seemed like, he was kind of like in the wrong industry. But the way TNA is kind of blowing up now, it was the most viewed Slammiversary in its company's history. Decades. That's great news. That's great news, 1,010%. The good thing about TNA, like Paul Levesque said, is you kind of have, these young superstars looking to get experience. The best way to get experience is obviously doing what you got to do inside of the ring. And now you have all these young guys from TNA. You also have these young young wrestlers from NXT, both the men's and the women's. So, yeah, tonight, Joe Hendry returns to NXT to take on Joe Kofi. Possibly could, I would probably pick Joe Hendry to win this match, being honest. Try to get his, career to pop up a little bit in terms of WWE NXT. And when Gallus came back, they made such a huge imprint on the WWE NXT roster. And now they've kind of fizzled out, to be honest. Like, they're losing matches. They come here and there to beat up people. And like, I don't know. I just feel like it was like a buildup of these three battling Scottish men ready to kick some arse. And then now they just seem like, a couple of wins. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. Imagine like, say that to their face. I definitely would not. But then Joe Hendry would help me. I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry would be my tag team partner. We would defeat Gallus. I would just go out there and, try hitting some low blows or something. Just kidding. But no, that would be pretty interesting. But Joe Hendry, I feel like, is going to pick up the win tonight. Next, we have Kelani Jordan defends her NXT Women's North American Championship against the always bizarre, the always creepy Tatum Paxley. Tatum Paxley, she's been obsessed with gold. Obviously, notably with Lyra Valkyria, when she turned her back on her to help Roxanne Perez, during her time and stuff like that. Gained the championship advantage. She challenged for the TNA knockout, so championship obviously didn't, came up short. And now she's challenging Kelani Jordan. You know, I think Kelani Jordan kind of said it best, where she said she wants to put prestige in this title, and the fact that she's the very first one, the inaugural winner to do it, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. But she put it upon herself. She wants to show that she could be a long reigning champion. Obviously, we've seen someone like Roman Reigns, we've seen someone like Brock Lesnar and Gunther who have title runs to the point where you get titles recognizable. The title, the title makes the person, like essentially. But sometimes, the people who hold the titles, they carry it on the weight. Like, look at the WWE Championship. You know what I mean? Like, you had, John Cena, Triple H, and then the World Heavyweight Championship. You had, like, Batista. You also had Booker T, King Booker. You just had greats and greats and greats, held the titles, held the championships that, that makes the title prestige. And I feel like if Kelani Jordan wants to keep that going, she's going to have to prove it tonight. Tonight we have Nathan Frazier and Axiom taking on the Rascalz for the WWE NXT Tag Team Championships. Wesley and Zach Wentz, they were dominant champions, I got to be honest. And, they're looking to build momentum with the gold. But, it's obviously what we found out from my man Anthony is, Wesley, he turned on them. That's insane because I was kind of, I was nervous and I thought Axiom and Nathan Frazier were going to lose the tag team belts because right now you just have the Rascalz they're very dominant. They're very dominant. They're very fluid. Their chemistry is, unfathomable. They trust each other. They go into the ring and they watch each other's backs. But obviously that's not the case. That's crazy. I can't wait to watch it. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be dope. All right, next we have Trick Williams taking on Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne, they've been kind of standoffish the last couple of weeks on WWE NXT. Pete Dunne's been everywhere, man. Dude, Pete Dunne's pissing everybody off. Sheamus has his sights on him. Now you have the former WWE NXT World Champion, whoop that Trick Williams on your case. And, if Trick Williams ever makes it to a point where he battles Ethan Page or whoever holds the title in the future, he needs to win tonight. Obviously, that's not a big surprise. Obviously, that's, to get title shots, you need to win matches. But when you bring Pete Dunne back to WWE NXT, I was shocked, to be honest. I was like, dude, what is he doing over there? You know what I mean? He was doing, obviously, you saw Tyler Bate get injured, which freaking sucks. The new Catch Republic. I liked them. Tag teaming together. But, instead you put the titles on Austin Theory and, Grayson Waller when they could have held the titles and had a pretty, awesome feud with DIY. But instead you have DIY lose championships to the Bloodline. Oh, that still hurts. Still hurts. All right, lastly, we have Oro Mensah challenges Ethan Page for the NXT Championship. Oro Mensah has made a killing in recent weeks, pinning the WWE NXT champion, saying that he could do it. He's better than you, and Ethan Page he's let him get in his head. Honestly, I do not think that Oro Mensah I don't think he's ready to hold the championship yet. I think he's going to put up one hell of a fight. He's going to put up one hell of a freaking fight. It's going to be one of those matches where sometimes you lose, but ultimately you win. And Oro Mensah, he was taken out by Ethan Page. Also, Noam Dar as well. It would be interesting to see if Noam Dar comes back or, something happens. But, Ethan Page, he won the NXT championship at Battleground. No, Heatwave. He won it at Heatwave. And ever since then, it's kind of, he hasn't really looked back. And he's a great champion. I got to be honest. But now he has, he's going to have to prove it. Starting off with the challenger like Oro Mensah. I'm not trying to trash or trying to throw shade at Oro Mensah. But I don't know. I think NXT could have got a bigger name. Maybe somebody from TNA would have came over. That would have been pretty dope. Pretty damn dope. All right, guys. Well, hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into what the new Judgment Day is going to look like. We're going to talk about the futures of the stars and just basically everything in between. So, hey, stay tuned.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. We're back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, every night on the GSMC Sports Network, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about, everything in terms of professional wrestling. So, yeah, without further ado, just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We had our WWE NXT preview. And now, without further ado, we're going to jump on into the new Judgment Day. What's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? But, before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. We get a number of questions from viewers like you that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air in front of millions of people, I ask you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Honestly, don't donate whatever. For most importantly, I just want to hear you guys' opinions about professional wrestling, your opinions about future storylines and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm, more interested in that, as opposed to, the quiche, you know what I mean? But, I don't know. It's a wrestling podcast. Definitely something that, or the wrestling fandom, we automatically click. And, I remember I was how old was I? I think I was 23 years old and I was with my friend. And, we were playing beer pong against these two guys. And not to get, too, graphic. But it got to the point where, the guy kind of, he was getting annoyed. I think the guy was like 27. And obviously these two punk kids come up and, obviously we were pretty, we were buzzing. We were just talking mess. And like, he got pissed off and it got to the point where he was going to fight my friend. And I was like, oh, great. Here we go, dude. Here we go. And I think I said something. About like it was a wrestling reference. And then the guy stopped. He looked me in the face and I was like, oh crap, here we go. But no, he was like, you like professional wrestling? And I was like, yeah, I the dude was like 2 times my size. I was like, I'm the biggest wrestling fan in the world. No, but like it was so cool because then we talked about wrestling for like the next 5 hours. And my friend, I gotta be honest, he kind of felt, he kind of was pissed off at me. Be like, oh, you're sleeping with the enemy. Be like, no, dude, like, turns out he wasn't a douchebag. I mean, sorry, and turns out he was a pretty cool guy. Talked about wrestling, talked about our favorite tag teams, our favorite rivalries, our Mount Rushmore, and it was great. It was pretty darn cool. So, that's wrestling. That's just wrestling fans right there. Love that. Let bygones be bygones, animosities. So, so yeah, that was the story about how I almost got my ass kicked at a party, but wrestling saved my life. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this new and improved Judgment Day. Obviously, you guys all saw what happened at SummerSlam. Pretty terrible. Oh man, I just don't see how a group of these 5 individuals could be successful. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be mean. JD McDonough, he was great. Kind of, made into like a clown on WWE Monday Night Raw. Carlito, ever since, being shown out, being the reason why he took out Dragon Lee. No, not Dragon Lee. Who did he take out? No, yeah, it was Dragon Lee. And then Rey Mysterio was supposed to pick him as a tag team partner, but then he chose Andrade, and Carlito was pissed. He was pissed. And then Rhea Ripley and Damien Priest at the end of not at the end of Monday Night Raw, but their last showing. I kind of like the direction they're going toward. They kind of seem like they're going to still watch each other's backs. I think essentially they will move on to to the point where I feel like they're no longer are going to be like in each other's corners and stuff like that. I think right now, obviously Rhea Ripley's still going to be there because the Finn Balor Damien Priest feud's going to go on for quite some time. Damien Priest, he said, honestly, it's not about the title. It's not about the title. It's about losing a brother. It's about losing a family. And Judgment Day was his family, but he said he gained a new family. He's going complete babyface. And right now, I think it's great. I think it's cool. I think him turning babyface brings in a whole new, different array of possibilities to the point where he probably could get his championship back. He has his rematch clause. When will he use it? I'm not too sure. Obviously, you had Randy Orton make a statement on Monday Night Raw saying that he's going to be the next one to challenge Gunther because my left shoulder was not down. You did not cleanly get the 1, 2, 3 at King of the Ring. I should be in that position. I should have got a title shot. But instead, you had Gunther versus Damien Priest. And, I thought it was a little too forced. I think, although I do love and respect Gunther, I just think it was too soon, if that makes any sense. It would have been crazy, like if you would have had Damien Priest win the championship, and maybe Monday Night Raw when they're all celebrating and stuff like that. That's when Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, and Carlito just beat the holy hell out of Damien Priest, and Finn Balor grabs Damien Priest's WWE World Heavyweight Championship, tells him, "I'm coming for this. This is a new Judgment Day." But I thought, I don't know if that would have been too predictable and would have pissed everybody off. But I thought that would have been a pretty good, that would have been a pretty darn good promo. Obviously, you see them as one big happy family right there. They were successful. I gotta be honest. I used to do a podcast with my wife. It was called like Shots Below the Belt, and we would talk about wrestling sometimes. It was mostly about sports and stuff like that. But we would talk about the big stuff in terms of pay-per-views inside the WWE. And when Judgment Day, 6 months in, I was like, dude, these guys are not going to last. It's not going to last. I don't buy it. And then eventually, you kind of saw them, they kind of had a little bit of turmoil at first. Then you had Edge being kicked out. Then Finn Balor came along. And then you had Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, Damien Priest. And then you had Edge team up with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. They turn Dom bad. He goes against his father. They get a new stablemate there. Then you have the romance between Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. And then, out of nowhere, JD McDonough had to prove himself. A lot of history between him and Finn Balor. And then you had the whole R-Truth thing, which was pretty funny. Pretty funny as hell, to be honest. And then R-Truth was kicked out of the Judgment Day randomly. Then you saw Carlito start popping up. That's when Judgment Day started falling apart. And it was about 2.5, 3 long years of the Judgment Day. And they've had success. But now, I see Damien Priest's career kind of heading more toward a positive direction. As opposed to, I think whoever wins with Gunther and Randy Orton, I honestly, and I'm not trying to sound like a jerk or anything like that, I don't think Gunther should hold the championship that long. Obviously, we have the Bash at Berlin pay-per-view, and then I believe we have Survivor Series. In October, I think it's Hell in the Cell. And then November not Survivor Series. Damn it. What's in November? Oh, I gotta look it up. But overall, I think this is gonna be great for Finn as well. I've been waiting for Finn Balor to kind of jump into that singles. When he won the tag team titles with Damien Priest, I was like, oh, I guess that's cool. You know what I mean? And then now he has them with JD McDonough. I want to see him. I want to see him do better. I want to see him be the leader that this Judgment Day is. It's new. It's young. No egos. Yeah, cool. That's awesome. But now you are just so vulnerable. Damian Priest was kind of like a big, hefty guy. He was the enforcer. And now you don't have that guy anymore. It's going to be interesting to find out who Judgment Day decides to feud with. Maybe at Survivor Series, you can have somebody like, Jey Uso and Damian Priest come together to pick a team of guys to take on the Judgment Day. Is the new Judgment Day going to get a new member? I honestly don't think that, I don't think that would be really good for any other superstars on the Raw roster. I know there's still, there right now WWE's been, in talks of signing like at least 10 new people. I'm trying to think of maybe even somebody from the NXT brand makes their way to Judgment Day. I was thinking maybe AJ Styles. but I don't know. I just, I feel like these four guys, they want to start, being successful. I really don't see why Carlito plays in this, to be honest. I'm not trying to sound mean. And then for Rhea Ripley, I feel like Rhea Ripley, she lost her rematch. Now she has to start from the bottom. There's no doubt in my mind she's going to probably be picked off. Maybe perhaps by Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark. Sonya Deville versus Rhea Ripley would be a great test of, Sonya. I don't think Liv Morgan would be so, excited and so soon to put her title on the line against Rhea Ripley again. I don't think that would, prove dividends at all in terms of the entertainment factor. You kind of have to have Rhea kind of go out of her comfort zone a little bit. Somewhere you don't really, you're not used to seeing her fight. Something you haven't seen her do ever since WWE NXT. And she's going to find her way back up to the top. There's no doubt in my mind that I feel like Rhea Ripley making it back up to the women's division on Monday Night Raw is going to be faster than how long this new Judgment Day will last, because I just don't see it. I don't see how Finn Balor could lead JD McDonough, Carlito, Dominic Mysterio. Like, those are like 4 weak guys. Like, they're not main carders. So right now, Finn Balor is the only main card guy. I don't know. It should be interesting to see where they go in terms of this. The new Judgment Day on the horizon. At WWE Summerslam, you saw Damien Priest betrayed by Finn Balor. You also saw Liv Morgan win her match because Dirty Dom was secretly in love with her, and he helped Liv pick up the victory. All right, guys. So that's my opinion about where I feel like this new Judgment Day faction is going to go. Obviously, give me your comments, questions, maybe your opinions about where do you think these 5, if you count Liv, these 5 individuals are going to go, and if it's something positive or something negative. All right, guys, something else big happened at WWE SummerSlam. It was Roman Reigns returning, the original tribal chief. Superman punches the heck out of Solo Sikoa and spears his soul out of his body. It was pretty badass. It was great. We're going to dig into that right now as soon as we get back. So, hey, stay tuned.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, all right, all right. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to talk about all things professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside the ring, superstar news, rumors, updates, injury status, et cetera, and cross-promotional brand awareness, basically anything in terms of wrestling, from the WWE to AEW, even the MLW Stardom, the NWA, sometimes if it's something that's big, and if it's something that shakes the wrestling world or obviously gets a lot of attention on social media, that's I guess the correct word for all you young people would be trending, what's trending on social media. But us old guys were like, you know what, I kind of, I could still talk about Shawn Michaels and how badass Triple H was back in the day, but you gotta stick up with it. And I gotta be honest, the way the wrestling promotions and the way WWE and the direction it's going in, I like it. I feel like overall, this is something they needed a long time ago. But of course, you had a stubborn old man who, kept getting into trouble and stuff like that. No, just kidding. No, allegations. But, I feel like ever since Triple H really kind of took the helm, it's been great. I feel like, WWE, it's a new era. It's a new era. So if you're looking to become a wrestling fan, best thing you can do is start watching wrestling now. If you need help, through it, kind of help, if you want to need help analyzing it, be like, who's who, what's what happens. You can always watch the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast on the GSMC Sports Network. 1,010%. Check out the videos on YouTube and stuff like that. 1,010% dope. So let's go ahead and jump on into our fourth segment. What is next for the new original Tribal Chief making his way back to WWE? It was big. It was oh my god. When something that was really cool that I feel like not a lot of people kind of really captured when Roman Reigns came back is just the ability for him to go from a complete heel. He lost at WWE WrestleMania 40. People were, they were saying bye. They were all excited because, Cody Rhodes, he accomplished his story. Took 2 years, 2 Royal Rumble winners. But now you had Roman Reigns come back. And Roman Reigns, all he did was take some time off. He gave hints here and there on social media about him coming back. And WWE storytelling. Once when Roman Reigns lost at WrestleMania 40 and Jimmy Uso got injured, Jay was out of it, all you really had was Solo and Paul Heyman. That's all you had. I thought it was done. I thought it was dead. DEA, dead in the water. But no. The Bloodline is back. Obviously, you saw him bring in, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa. Then now you see Jacob Fatu. In the Wicks, we have, Hikuleo as well. The younger brother of, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa. And it's just when Roman Reigns came back, well, kind of getting the history of Roman Reigns. He was forced down the WWE Universe's throat. People hated Roman, hated him. I've been to so many wrestling events. I think I went to a No Mercy at the Staples Center, and when Roman was, I think he was fighting Braun Strowman. No, I think he was fighting John Cena. There was people that all the John Cena haters. Everybody was like, Cena sucks. And then, all the Roman Reigns haters, it was to the point where people started chanting like basically they were saying, oh, what did they say? I think they said this match sucks or something like that. I think they were chanting something along those lines. But Roman Reigns, it took him to, he won the Universal Championship. Then he had to relinquish it because, his leukemia. Then he came back. SummerSlam of 2021, I think it was, where he speared the Fiend and had a complete different personality. something that he probably should have gotten a long time ago. And then you just see him rise to superstardom. WWE tried so hard to make Roman Reigns the babyface. And now he finally is. He finally is. And it's during an era of professional wrestling with the Paul Levesque era that I feel like it's absolutely perfect. Because before, during the Vince McMahon era, you had the baby faces appeal to the crowd just so damn much. It's kind of pander for their attention. That's not what this. I don't think that's how you're supposed to do it. And especially, with Roman Reigns after his return at SummerSlam, I hope he does not go into that direction. I feel like this has to be really held like very, very delicately, because you don't want to see Roman Reigns kind of jump back into that, like, he's trying to be a babyface, but who really cares? But everything that's going on with the Bloodline, with Solo Sikoa, I just think it's so perfect. It's so damn perfect, and I love it. I think and also what shocked me is Roman Reigns. He wasted absolutely no time at targeting the Bloodline. There was a lot of speculation saying that he would eventually, he would join Solo Sikoa's group. Obviously, they're family. That's why when he went inside the ring, I kind of thought, on the mind of everybody's, all the fans in attendance of SummerSlam, everybody watching at home, there was a slight doubt in your mind that you're like, all right, what if he goes after Cody? What if, like, he supports his family? What if he tells Solo, like, you know what, like, okay, I'm back now. You don't have to be the tribal chief anymore. But of course, the promos on WWE SmackDown where Solo Sikoa was asking Roman Reigns to challenge him, that's kind of something that was kind of put to bed probably about a month ago or 3 weeks ago, when Solo Sikoa was getting real aggressive on calling out the old tribal chief, saying that he wasn't man enough to hold the WWE Championship. He wasn't good enough to support the family. He wasn't great enough to defeat Cody Rhodes. Heavy words, not smart, to be honest. So, looking further down the line, obviously WWE SmackDown this week's going to be huge. I think the viewership's going to be, it's going to absolute skyrocket. It's going to be interesting to find out what Cody Rhodes has to say. It's going to be so awesome to see what Roman Reigns has to say. I can't wait to see what Solo Sikoa has to say after getting laid out. The quote-unquote tribal chief, the strongest guy in the world. Like, dude, you're pulled a chump. And that's something that I also wasn't, also that would have been, we don't see Solo Sikoa as a main card guy. Honestly, I know I don't. That's why I felt like they kind of rushed this storyline a little bit, but it was perfect. I feel like it ended, and the way it's going right now, I feel like it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. It's going to ensure a lot of, seats in the butts. People are going to be highly invested into it. They're going to watch WWE SmackDown religiously, definitely. But this was the problem with Solo Sikoa, just having zero credibility as soon as he took the tribal chief role or whatever, ever since Roman Reigns got defeated at WrestleMania 40. And that's something that I was like, all right, I feel like, I don't think Solo Sikoa has enough prestige, but he has his guys. Right now, Roman is all alone. You have Jay on Monday Night Raw, Jimmy injured, but he's medically cleared. A lot of people said that he's going to get the band back together. But then again, I'm not too sure how well that's going to go as well. I do think there's going to be a Survivor Series match. I feel like we're going to see the original Bloodline with the honorary Uce, and maybe somebody like Zila as well. Maybe he helps out Roman Reigns. And then you're going to have the new young Bloodline. If The Rock comes saying that he's been pulling the strings the whole time, he supports Solo's claim. We're going to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I feel eventually. I know The Rock kind of stated his claim he wanted to fight him at WrestleMania. But the Royal Rumble, perhaps, maybe. I feel like it would make more of a statement if The Rock did fight Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes, obviously, I don't know if The Rock would ever win unless he was coming back to wrestling full time. That would be a bombshell. That would be crazy in and itself. But a lot of possibilities with this storyline. Like I said, WWE has to be a little delicate about it because right now the fans are absolutely in love with the tribal chief. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's, obviously Roman wants his belt back. Obviously, that's something that's never going to change. He wants to be the top dog. He wants to be the champion. So, can't wait to find out what happens, with this storyline. I like I said, I did feel like it was pushed a little bit, and we're probably going to see a tribal combat match against Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns, which Solo Sikoa is going to win. But I don't know. It's going to be great. I feel like I can't wait for Survivor Series. I can't wait for the War Games match. It's going to be, it's so crazy how we're already talking about War Games, and it's only beginning of August. All right, guys. So we have our fifth and final segment. Like I said, it's kind of strange how, I was doing a little bit of research today and didn't really find anything that eye-popping about what happened today in wrestling history. But I'm rapidly running out of time. I got my man, Emran, with his GSMC Soccer podcast. So going to see if I can, wrap this up a little, kind of put it in power mode. And but, overall, let's enjoy ourselves. So, hey, stay tuned. All right. We're back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time on the GSMC Sports Network. Here to talk about all things about professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, superstar news, updates, injury status, rumors, and, stuff about basically anything from the WWE to AEW, Ring of Honor, TNA. We dabble in on it, consistently, got to be honest. But could do a little bit more. But sometimes it's just I know that the NWA they're on the CW app, and it's gonna be interesting to find out. As soon as WWE NXT shifts over to the CW, obviously their collaboration with TNA is just it's in efforts to kind of build up stable shows to the point where when you kind of have because they've been at the Performance Center ever since I think ever since its existence started in NXT, and now you're going to have to try to have them go out, sell out arenas and stuff like that, because they're going to be on the move. They're going to be on the move. This was kind of something that's been rumored for the past. I think I did a segment about it about four months ago, where WWE NXT is going to be its own entity. That's why when you watch NXT or when you see highlights, they say NXT, not WWE NXT. Essentially, NXT is going to be like that experimental brand, which I feel like WWE should have did a long time ago. And a lot of people said that they're going to treat it like WCW, which I don't agree with that at all. Or that they're going to try to revamp WCW. I don't see that happening at all either. But with the way NXT is kind of heading toward, with all these new badass TNA stars making a name for themselves, like Joe Hendry, like you had Jordan Grace, both very impressive superstars. I can't wait to see maybe if the system try. Obviously the system is kind of dead in TNA. I know they're gonna revamp it. Moose was like, yeah, no, what is dead may never die. Come on NXT. Why not? Try it. Come on NXT. Why not? Be a change of scenery. Be a new place to prove that you're a badass. So honestly, why not? Moose, give it a shot, man. Give it a shot. I'm challenging you. I'm just kidding. No. Uh, anyways, so without further ado, we're going to talk about Tuesdays today in wrestling history. All right, here we go. So, what I have for you guys, first and foremost, let's talk about some birthdays we had today. A couple birthday boys. We have Jeddah. We have Jeddah, and then we have Bram. We also have Dino Bravo, and we also have Jimmy Valiant. Was never really blessed to watch those guys growing up, but I can imagine wrestling, especially during the during the 80s and stuff like that. Obviously, I have Hulk Hogan right there. It was pretty. I mean, it was pretty badass. I thought it was pretty huge. All right, at 19, we're gonna start off with 1993 in a house show in Sheffield, England. Hulk Hogan defeats WWF champion Yokozuna by disqualification. This would prove to be Hulk Hogan's last match under the WWF banner until his return in 2002, back when they revamped the whole NWO thing, which was pretty cool. But then you started seeing people like Booker T, X-Pac. I think even Goldust was like trying to make a run, and then you had Shawn Michaels. I do love Shawn Michaels, and it was kind of cool to see that Enter DX kind of cross promotional. Then you had like a promo between him and Triple H, like in the back. He kind of looked at him with the NWO shirt. He's like, you know what, you're ashamed of DX, you know what I mean? So definitely thought that was pretty cool. But, the best thing about the NWO was about the big three. The original three. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and then also Hulk Hogan. And of course, eventually you would see somebody like Eric Bischoff make it to the NWO. You had, like the bad NWO. Then you had Sting kind of, being the target and stuff. It was just, it was crazy. It was crazy. Definitely during the time of wrestling, bookings could have been a lot better. I feel like it could have been more successful. But I don't know, being brutally honest, then WWF lost Hulk Hogan. And it was big. It was very big. Especially with the jumping off of you're starting to have you're starting to have WrestleMania happen more frequently. Not frequently, but you're kind of having it, it's the big show. It's the show of shows. And at the time, WWF fans wanted to see like Hulk Hogan. They wanted to see somebody like Hulk Hogan. Then you saw Hulk Hogan, go over to WCW. Then you also eventually saw Scott and Kevin leave as well. And then they did whatever they had to do. And then they started the NWO on Nitro. And for the longest time, you had WCW and you had, and you also had the WWF going head to head. But like I said, like I kind of mentioned before earlier in the podcast, how WWE ultimately wanted to, forget about these older guys, more or less bring in these rising superstars like Triple H, The Rock, The Undertaker, Kane. And it got to the point where a lot of people, and I knew a guy who was like all about the 1990s, about wrestling and stuff like that. He once told me that WWF didn't really start becoming, didn't really start showing their stripes and the fact that they could possibly be successful until Hulk Hogan left. So obviously, you had the wrestler of the 80s. You saw the match with Andre the Giant. You've had him, win countless title runs and, have reigns and stuff like that. And as soon as he left the WWF, I can imagine that Vincent Kennedy McMahon Sr., it was nerve-wracking. It was scary. It was, it was a time in wrestling where you kind of had things changing in the 90s. Obviously, the 90s, what they like to, kind of flare up more often than not is the Monday Night Wars between Monday Night Nitro and Monday Night Raw. But nobody really honestly knew how big this move was. That Hulk Hogan was like, yeah, you know what? I could be going, I could be somewhere where, when he was with WCW, he had creative control clause where, he could basically, pick who he wants to lose to. And that works. That works, but it's to the point where sometimes like your ego does get in the way. You know what I mean? Like if you try to run your own career, it from a regular person's standpoint, not from the entertainment business. And Hulk Hogan kind of had a huge unchecked ego. That's kind of started with the whole falter with him and WCW and stuff like that. Kind of like what you're seeing happening with LeBron James and the LA Lakers. How he's also a player, also a GM, and sometimes it's I don't think that's good. Sometimes you got to just do what you do what you're doing best. You play basketball, or Hulk Hogan, just wrestle, dude. Just wrestle, man. All right, so that was in 1993 in I don't know why it's showing 10. It's crazy. That was in 1993. In 2001, Tajiri defeated X-Pac on Monday Night Raw to win the WWF Light Heavyweight Champion. It was the only run with the belt, and he lost it back to X-Pac 2 weeks later. I thought I liked X-Pac. I remember when he came up, he was like the 1, 2, 3 kid and stuff like that. Very young. I think he started wrestling when he was 18, I believe, in the WWF. Don't quote me on that. But Tajiri, he was, I think he was ECW. I'm not too sure if he was. Don't quote me on that. I know he had the tarantula. That was his finishing maneuver, the tarantula on the ropes. It got to the point where, X-Pac, especially during 2001, you kind of had that revamped look of, D-Generation X, the McMahon-Helmsley era. I've always admired X-Pac's, skills inside of the ring. I know he, eventually kind of, he hooked up with China, and they were a couple for a pretty long time, especially after everything that happened between her and Triple H and all that. No, it was a taking off point in his career. Obviously, the WWF Light Heavyweight Championship kind of died. And then you had the Cruiserweights trying to make a comeback. And I thought they did a really good job at 205 Live. I really honestly miss 205 Live. They had great superstars. Superstars that left the company or that kind of got demoted as soon as it went under. I don't know. I thought that was great. I thought that was great, 1,010%. All right, and this was the bigger one. 2007, Vince McMahon returned to Monday Night Raw after the Who Killed Vince McMahon angle, and it was dropped. Vince McMahon set up a 20-man battle royal to determine who would be named the new general manager of Monday Night Raw. The battle royal was won by Sir William Regal. And this was really huge because, obviously, if you know, you know. And I'm not going to try to, speak on it too much. But this was, Vince McMahon, he was like just downtrodden. I think he was burnt out by DX. DX basically, they broke it. They broke it. He even told Shane in the promo, he was like, you know what? I think DX has broken me. Then he went out here to his limo, and then it blew up. Which one I was like, really? They're going to kill off Vince McMahon? Like, I think that's a little, I thought that was a little far-fetched. And then the next week, you turn on your television to watch Monday Night Raw. You see a wrestler has passed away. Wrestler, they did a whole tribute show for him. Obviously, I'm speaking about Chris Benoit. And then after they found out what happened, the next week later, they apologized for running that episode. And then they just, kind of just, act like it never happened. Not this angle, not like it was, there was a time in wrestling where it was a little awkward. It was kind of crazy. Everything that was happening, and then I kind of felt like around 2009 to 2010, I was kind of like, kind of falling in and out of wrestling. I'd kind of watch it here and there. But most importantly, I would just like, I'd keep tabs on the bigger superstars. You know what I mean? And then I eventually came back to wrestling in 2016. It was a good, I fell in love with that professional wrestling. I think I have a poster up in my office. That's when Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, you had Dolph Ziggler, you had Finn Balor coming, here and there as the Demon King. You had Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens. You had the New Day. You had the American Alpha. You had Baron Corbin, the Lone Wolf Day. Back when he was like a total badass lone wolf. John Cena, Becky Lynch, the Usos. You had Charlotte Flair. You just had a bunch of great people. Randy Orton, Sheamus, Cesaro. I remember when they were the tag team, they were the bar. It's not that we don't set the bar. We are the bar. The tag team that was created by Mick Foley. And then you had the general managers. You had Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon on SmackDown Live. Then you had Stephanie and Mick Foley on Raw. And it was, it was pretty cool. I liked it. And then, I was watching it. And then, around 2018, 2019, I was like, all right, it's, I've kind of seen why I'm not I'm not as crazy or dedicated into the wrestling fandom as I used to be. But then after the whole pandemic thing, after, we would always watch it. Me and my wife would always watch professional wrestling. And as soon as it was kind of clear that you saw the resemblance of a Triple H pay-per-views and also Vince McMahon. I don't know if that makes any sense, but there's some promos, some title matches that would end unfavorably, and you would kind of think to yourself, you're like, oh, that's I used to joke around all the time with my wife. I was like, oh, that was a Vince McMahon move. You know what I mean? And then now you kind of have Triple H take over total control, and it seems like it's working for WWE. But this day, 2007, on August 6th, damn, it was in August? What? That's crazy. That's wild. Damn, I'm getting old, guys. Getting older by the minute. I'm just kidding. Well, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed my show. Hope you guys have a great midweek. We have Wednesday tomorrow. Don't be afraid of Wednesday. Wednesday's just the day, just to, get over that hump, go downhill Thursday, Friday, and eventually you hit the weekend. We also have AEW Dynamite to watch tomorrow. I'm going to watch WWE NXT because my man Anthony Mazzano told me that Wes Lee turned on the Rascalz, so I'm excited to see that. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, guys. It's 1,000 to 10%. Love the audience. Love it when you guys send chats and stuff like that. I appreciate it. I'm forever in your debt. You guys, absolutely love you guys. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow the network, follow the GSMC Sports Network, follow the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, so you can see more wrestling stuff. Or if you want to check out some of the other podcasts we have here. We have a basketball podcast, baseball, football. It's here at the GSMC Sports Network. We just want to ensure that our fans get high quality sports shows. It's absolutely free too. 1,000 to 10%, 1,000 to 10% free. Come and check us out. So, honestly, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys had a great time. Gonna see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys, but most importantly, stay beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to